how to create a button and how to use the color management tools in Photoshop to color correct your photos. So if you haven't done so already, you want to go to Schoology, go under Graphic Arts 1, and we're going to view course as Delaney today, and under Chapter 5, or Unit 5, we're going to go under Chapter 12, Color Management. And you have your color management, you have to answer those questions, then you've got your button and cell phone. Today we're going to show button. So when you scroll on it, you can either download it or just view it. So I'm going to right click and open a new tab so we can view it. So first thing we want to do is we want to actually figure out what we want to design. You're going to be doing 3 different button designs. One of them has to have a photo, and you need to edit the colors, and then you'll also be using Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop to create it. I want you to keep in mind when you're designing the elements and principles of design, the types of layouts you can do, types of typography, because at the end you're going to answer some questions regarding it. So first thing we want to do when we're doing it is we want to research, see what kind of buttons we can make. Well, I gave you a link right in Schoology. You can just research buttons, and it will show you some buttons that you can make for maybe your school. So let's say you're on a sports team or a different type of organization, FCA, Skills USA, and you want to make a pin or a button to have your name on it and saying, hey, you're a member. So this just gives you a couple of different sports ones, and you can see how much it charged just to make these buttons. There's a 3-inch button. We're making a 2¼ inch button, but you can still add your logo. You can add color design to it. All right, so I found a few here, and I'm like, okay, those aren't too bad. This is purple and yellow. We can do green and gold. So you see some different designs. So our next step is to double click on the Graphic Arts 1 server. Under students, under our name, you're going to make a new folder, and if you haven't done so, a new Chapter 12 folder. And then under there, I'm going to make a new folder called buttons. This is where we're going to save our images and our template. So first of all, if you have a computer or you want to upload photos, try to find some high-res quality photos to use, maybe of yourself, your family, stuff taken by Gaines Photography or the yearbook. They might have some pretty good photos. Typically, our cell phone cases or cell phones do a little better than, I have one that I downloaded earlier from my phone. So this is my niece and nephew. So my niece is in cheerleading and my nephew's in basketball. So I'm going to make a basketball one for him. So what you want to do after you finish making your folder, we have back under, I think it's Q3, Chapter 12, you have a button template. Double click on it. Then you're going to save these button templates. It gives you 3 because you're going to do 3 designs, and you want to save it in your folder. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call it Button LR with my initials. And we're going to save that under the Graphic Arts 1 server, under my name, under Chapter 12, under Buttons. Okay. So if you notice, there's 2 different sizes when you open this up. If you do not have your templates up, your layers up, your colors up, everything you're missing will probably be under Windows. If you're missing your tools, you want to make sure you have layers. And you probably want to do colors, so you want to have your swatches up. Hopefully you have swatches in there. If not, you can always click on the library, color book, Pantone solid coated, and then there's a whole bunch of different colors that you may choose from. Typically this is how they look when they come in. If you go in the upper right, I like to do large list view. That way it's one at a time and I can scroll through the colors I want. Now I'm on my layers palette. There's a top layer. This is not a printing layer. That just is showing you where the image is going to be cut off at. The rest of this will be wrapped around the button. So you want to work on the artwork goes here layer. And then our first thing to do is the picture. So I'm going to open the picture in Photoshop. So under my name, I have a picture of my niece and nephew. This was taken on a cell phone, so I want to drag that into Photoshop. Now I don't really need the layers up, but I want to color correct the photo, and I'm just using the face. So if you go under Image, adjust color. It automatically adjusts the color. But I'm going to show you some advanced features here. All right, so as you can see, it's a little blurry. So you want to make sure you have a good photo. Since mine's not the perfect photo, I probably would try to choose a different one or retake the photo. But for color editing, I'm going to show it to you right now how to do it. What you want to do is you want to find the lightest color of your document and the darkest color. So for the darkest, I want the pitch black. So whatever's the pitch black. If I use my eyedropper tool and go Windows, Show Information, I'm looking for like 100% black. Oh, and I want to do a sample 3x3. And my brush is really big. Or my image is really small. But see how it's taken that? So I'm going to go under Image, Image Size, and it's not too bad. But I'm going to resample the image at 150. There you go. Now let's see. I'm going to make my brush a lot smaller if it lets me. And I'm trying to find a close to 100% black. Black is K. So you want to show whatever's the highest percentage of black. I'm getting 87, 89. So as you can notice, there's not a perfect black on here. But I've got an 88 in the sock. So I'm just looking at the different colors from K. So the closest I got was 88. And then I'm going to look for the lightest color, which is white, which I want to see no data in here. So if you look here, it's a 211. If I go on the car over here, it's a 322. So I'm going to probably use the car for my white. And then something that's gray, which I could use either the pavement or this table. So I'm going to go under Image, Adjustments, Curves. So if you notice down here, there's a eyedropper tool that's black, an eyedropper tool that's white, and one that's gray. We're going to start with the black one first. And I noticed this sock had the most amount of black, so I'm going to look for the one that showed like 80, the closest 80. 87. Once you find something that's pretty close, you click on it, and it makes that the blackest point. Then I'm going to use the white eyedropper. And I know before I was talking the car hood had the whitest point. And as you notice, it just made a little contrast. And then for the grayest point, I'm going to find a neutral color. So for this is the middle, gray, and a neutral color. So what this does is it does the undercolor removal and removes the other colors that you don't want. And it replaces most of the black with black and the white with white, so you don't have that in between. Then I've got it done. I'm going to save it. You can rename it if you want as color corrected. And if you don't think it did a lot of color, I'm going to go Windows to History. So this is the after, this is the before. So it was a little bit of change, but not a ton. But every little bit helps. Okay. So after I finish color correcting, then I'm going to open up my buttons in Illustrator, and I want to file, place the image in there. So it's my unknown image, and it's going to be large, but I want just their face. So I'm going to go down here, and as you see, there's some white color, so I'm going to turn that off. And I want to right click, arrange, send to back, so I can see, oh, I guess I have these filled with white. To make it none, up here on the control panel, you select fill and none. That way you can see where their head will be at. Alright, so this is going to be my nephew first. Hold the shift key as you scale. Scale from edge to edge or corner to corner. Alright, so there's his head. I'm going to put that in the middle. But I'm going to make another circle on the ellipse tool. I can come up here to see how it is and hold the shift key as I do it, and I can make it just as round or as small as I want. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get to a size I'd like, and I'm going to put it over his face, and I'm going to move his face over a little bit, And then holding the shift key, I select the edge of the circle and I've got the image. I can do Apple 7 and it crops or clips the image to the size. Alright, so I've got his head in there, and then what I want to do, I'm going to unlock my top layer so I can see this area right now, which is white. I'm making it clear so you can see. This is where it's going to show. You're going to see actually that color. Some of the color you'll see on the side, but most of it you're just going to see a little bit of it. I'm moving my nephew's head up a little bit. And then the colors you want to change for the sport, or for, if I click on the outside, I can change it to whatever color I want. I think his is blue, and his blue is more of a dark blue, like a navy blue for his school that he's at. So I choose a nice dark navy blue. Okay. And then I think his other color that he's got is yellow. I can make it blue to yellow gradient. I can put stripes in there. Let's say I want to do stripes. I just do a rectangle. And I think the other color they have, stroke is nothing. Fill was yellow, so I find a nice yellow. And it's up to you if you want to make a couple stripes. You can make the size smaller. You can make it bigger. And then I'm going to bring his face forward. So that's the colors of his school right now. And then if you want to put their name on it, or senior, you want to make sure it's readable and legible. With type, you can just click and type. So I can do Alex, that's his name, uppercase, lowercase, whatever you would like. For mine, I'm going to align it centered. And I'm going to make sure I have a nice bold typeface. I'd like a nice sans serif typeface. And I'm just going to put his name, stretch it larger. And then maybe I'll still use that yellow that we used before. That way it shows up. And then what will show on the pin or the button is pretty much all that around where that black is at. I can actually turn it white so you can see. This is what will show when you make your button, what's in the white. Okay, so right now it's black. I have the layer locked. It's called imagery. This will not print. The white will not print. It's just showing you where it's at. All the artwork needs to go in here. Now if I want it not just symmetrical, maybe I want to do curve type, then I'm going to make another circle. The rectangle, hold down the rectangle tool, hold the shift key, make a circle to the size you want. I'm going to hold the shift key, make sure it's perfect. I don't want fill, nothing. But if you click on the type tool, there's a type on path tool. So right here in the center, I'm going to click type on that path. Now that's on the outside of the path. This might be a little tricky. This is the direct selection tool. You'll notice there's like a little line. Pull that in, and now I'm on the inside of the path. You can type what you want to say. I'm going to do Alex, all capital letters, 2020 for his year. And get rid of my other Alex so you can see. Again, highlight it. Maybe change the color of it. Make it bigger. Now right now it's on that line. If I want it above that line, if I do Apple T, it brings up the type or character box. Currently this shows you what typeface it is, what our size of our type, what our leading is. But down here where it has an A with an A up, if you click the up arrow, it kind of moves off that line. So you can put it right there if you want. I can even make it bigger. And it gets lost a little bit, so maybe I want to put a stroke around it. So instead of it just being white or plain stroke, I'm going to use the same blue that I used before, which was this blue. Flip it, make the fill yellow, and now it kind of stands out a little bit more. You want to do 3 designs for your button. One has to have a photo in it. Now once you finish the photo, I'm clicking on the blue. I'm going to do Apple C, copies it. Apple F brings it right to front. And then I can draw a box around the whole thing and do Apple 7. Whoop, I didn't do it. Let's see. Got to bring that to front. It doesn't do it. Object, arrange, bring to front. Then I can draw a box